Best Live Performance, and the nominees are Dillinger Escape Plan, Mike Portnoy's Shattered Fortress, Cole Palmer's Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the Neil Morse Band, Guns N' Roses. In 2017 I was fortunate enough to see so many concerts, so it was very difficult to narrow this down to only 5 live bands. But I think I've done so. So let's begin with the Dillinger Escape Plan. This, unfortunately, was their farewell tour. They're going to be breaking up at the end of it. I'm not sure whether it's actually ended quite yet. It may still be going in America, but certainly the European leg of it is long dead. I saw them at the O2 Academy in Kentish Town. Unfortunately, because I only bought the tickets late, I ended up having to stand all the way up on a balcony, way up in the gods in the back, which wasn't the greatest viewing experience. You really want to be down on the ground, on the floor, for a concert like Dillinger Escape Plan. But nonetheless, they were by far one of the most incredible live acts that I had experienced all year. And that was right at the beginning of the year as well, January or February, and it set the bar very high. Not only did they play a really strong set list, a good blend of old stuff and new stuff, I mean every song was just in your face. Greg's vocals were so on point, his growls, his cleans. There's just no live show quite like Dillinger. They really do sound quite unique and different in metal. I mean, there's plenty of mathcore bands out there, but there are none like Dillinger Escape Plan. There's none that really balance so perfectly melody with technical, proggy weirdness. And it's going to be sad to see them go. Mike Portnoy's Shattered Fortress. So as we said before, this is the band he put together to celebrate his 50th anniversary and play the 12-step suite about alcoholism, which he had originally written with Dream Theater. This was one that, I instantly bought tickets for it. I didn't want to miss it. I'm a huge Dream Theater fan, but I didn't have very high expectations for it. A couple of months before, I'd seen Dream Theater themselves play Images and Words, which was very good. And I wondered what type of vocalist was he going to get? What band was he really going to get put together? Were they really going to be up to the job playing Dream Theater stuff? And, can Mike Portnoy really play prog metal still? And the band he put together, though, basically, he got Haken, put in Eric Gillette of the Neil Morse Band, who we'll come to, and there you have Mike Portnoy's Shattered Fortress. Haken's lead vocalist was able to do a brilliant job of James LaBrie's vocals, and they also played some other Dream Theater tracks as well. It was a whole hodgepodge, including some stuff from Metropolis Part 2, a bit from Images and Words, a real kind of best of, as well as the Shattered Fortress. But what blew me away the most was Portnoy's drumming. I've always revered him as one of the best drummers in the world, but here he truly excelled. He really let himself loose and put every part of his heart and soul into the performance. And it was just an incredible performance. Every player was unbelievable. The lead guitarists and the keyboards, everything. It really was like Dream Theater, just without James LaBrie's voice. And well, yes, the guitars, they weren't as good as John Petrucci. It's hard to live up to that standard. It certainly didn't sound like just a Dream Theater cover band. It was some serious musicians playing some seriously immense music. Alright, we may as well do the next Portnoy one of the Neil Morse Band. So Neil Morse released Similitude of a Dream and decided to play it in its entirety. Now, I've been a big fan of Neil Morse for a long time. I loved him particularly with Spock's Beard. Please come and play Snow in the UK. I would kill for that. And the band that he's got, again, like Portnoy, he has put together such an incredible band. So he has Eric Gillette, particularly on guitar, who is such an underrated guitarist, and was one I was totally unaware of until really till Similitude of a Dream and the album that precedes that for the Neil Morse Band, which I can't quite remember. And I'm meant to be in the studio now recording a new one. But every player is incredible. Neil Morse has put together a very strong band, and they played the music just perfectly. Neil's voice is still incredible. And I don't believe they really played much else, maybe a couple of other songs aside from the album, but having the concept album flow out in its entirety, there's just few things better for a prog fan like me than that. Cole Palmer's ELP Legacy. This is one you wouldn't necessarily expect to be nominated in a Best Live Performance, so Cole Palmer, the drummer of the Emerson, Lake and Palmer, put together an Emerson, Lake and Palmer cover band. Now, we've seen musicians this time and time again, they try and live off their legacy and put together bands that no one really cares about. I'm looking at you, Mick Underwood's Glory Road, who plays the best of Ian Gillan's solo stuff. That's a bizarre one. I'll never quite get my head around that. And Cole Palmer's ELP Legacy, when I saw them at Hard Rock House Prog Fest, I thought we're going to end up in that category. But instead, I was shocked and amazed at what I had. Because the thing is, of course, Greg Lake is dead. Keith Emerson is dead. And how the heck do you replace him? How do you replace Keith Emerson, one of the greatest keyboardists to have ever graced rock? And how do you replace the iconic voice of Greg Lake? So what did Cole Palmer do? Well, he didn't replace them. Now, that's not to say it's just, a drum solo. Bear with me. So, this band, they have no keyboardist. They have no singer. It's Cole Palmer. On guitars, Paul Bieltovich, that's not an easy name to say, and Simon Fitzpatrick on bass. That's it. It's a trio. Guitar, bass, drums. That doesn't sound like ELP at all. And that's why it was so brilliant. Because they played all the classic ELP songs, from Tarkus to Carnival 9, Second Impression, Lucky Man, and Fanfare for the Common Man, etc. But they did it in a way that I'd never heard before. Paul on guitar is just an absolute god, quite frankly. It's one of the best guitarists I've seen all year, and someone who is criminally underrated. An incredible player. Simon Fitzpatrick on the bass, again, his tapping bass and the things he would play were just on a different level. The musicianship in this trio, including Palmer, who at the age he is still able to play just as well as when he was in his 20s or 30s, is off the charts. It's insane. And the modern, different renditions of the song, they're still very recognisable as the classic Emerson, Lake and Palmer songs, but with a totally different vibe about them. And to me, that's what progressive rock is about. It's about continuing to innovate and explore. And that's what Cole Palmer's Emerson, Lake and Palmer Legacy did. Finally, Guns N' Roses. This was a concert I had wanted to see all of my life. Ever since I discovered Guns N' Roses back when I was 12, they became my favourite band, and still are to this day my favourite band. The opportunity to see them was one I certainly could not miss. And luckily, I didn't. So I went to see them at Wembley Stadium, and they were shockingly good. I didn't think Axl still had it in him, but his voice has only in the last few years gotten better. It was terrible around when Chinese Democracy came out, but he's definitely improved it, and it was easily listenable. Hearing Slash and Duff back on the stage with Axl, it was just unforgettable. They played pretty much all the songs I would have wanted them to play in a long 2.5 hour set. There was no lateness from Axl. It was professional. It was brilliant. But the winner of Best Live Performance has to be Cole Palmer's Emerson, Lake and Palmer Legacy. To innovate as much as Cole Palmer has been at, at his age and at this stage in his career, he could easily play maybe even bigger venues by just hiring a keyboardist and a vocalist and playing the Emerson, Lake and Palmer songs in the way that everyone remembers them. But instead he doesn't. He takes the progressive ideals to his core and continues them. And that's why he is the best live performance of 2017.